Finding suitable 3PLs for your business. That's the topic for this week. Why? Because a lot of people struggle with it. Coming right up. So one of the things that people struggle with when they're going through logistics outsourcing, and this might be for warehousing or for transport, is trying to work out where to find suitable suppliers. So let's talk about 3PLs, sort of warehousing and distribution type contracts. Where do you go to find appropriate suppliers to quote for your business, to respond to your tenders? And I've seen so many companies get this wrong over the last 25 years. I thought we should just sort of highlight some of the common mistakes and some of the things that you can aim for. And in fact, at the end of this video, I'll give you my top 3 things that I focus on when I'm trying to find appropriate 3PLs. Okay, and we'll do a little bit of a giveaway as well during this video. So there will be a code word towards the end of this video, and if you use that code word, you can jump onto Supply Chain Secrets and get a 20% discount on our online education program. I'll put the details down below the video. But let's get back now to outsourcing. Why is it an issue? I've told this story once before, and it was many years ago, as you'll realise. I once asked a client, they were going through a freight outsourcing process. I said, how are you picking the freight companies to invite to your tender? Believe it or not, they were looking in Yellow Pages. So that shows how long ago that was. But a lot of companies still kind of make those errors. They're not thinking through how they're going to find the right 3PLs and the consequences of getting the wrong ones. So let's talk through how you might do that, because it's really important that you come across to the industry as an educated buyer. And I've said this on a few videos. You know, if you start approaching companies that are totally inappropriate as suppliers for you, what kind of message does that send? You know, this company really doesn't understand the market, they're not really sure what they're looking for. So, you know, you have to set yourself up as an educated buyer. So who would you be picking? Let's imagine that you've been with a certain 3PL for 5 years. Maybe service has dropped off, costs are going up, and you're under pressure to go to the market to see if there are better offers out there. Very often the reason can be, oh, it's company policy that every 3 years we go to the market. I don't know. I kind of have issues with that. You know, if the relationship's really good, the service is good, and the cost is good, I don't know why you should necessarily be doing that. It's a bit like saying to your partner, I'm going to go and have a look around, you know, your life partner, see if there's anything better out there. How does that make them feel? So sometimes, you know, it's company policy to actually go to the market. But regardless, where do you start looking? Well, if you know your industry, you'll know who the industry players are. You know, if you asked me who are the main 3PLs in the pharmaceutical sector or industrial products sector, you know, I could tell you who the main ones are, the ones who are recognised as having the experience and capability and so on in those industry sectors. And you would probably know that. So you're certainly going to pick 1 or 2 of those. Very often, people will have preferences from previous roles. So, you know, ask around amongst the senior management team, you know, who have you worked with in the past? And they might say, oh, look, you know, in my last company, we used this company and they were really good, you know. So get that sort of feedback, that sort of personal recommendation is always a good idea to, you know, consider putting those companies into the mix. Ask around industry colleagues, you know, are you well networked? You know, if you're in the steel industry, for example, you probably know other people in the steel industry. Now, who are you using these days? Are they good? Because, you know, performance changes over time. Companies get bought and sold, and management changes, and a company that was providing outstanding service at a great cost 10 years ago maybe isn't so much now. So you've really got to sort of keep up to speed. And of course you can, you know, get consultants to help you through the process. We spend half our lives here at Logistics Bureau doing that. So there's a few ways where you can go out and find some suitable 3PLs to help you with your business. The consequences of getting it wrong can be fairly dramatic. I mentioned already, if you're approaching the wrong 3PLs, you're not going to come across as a knowledgeable, educated buyer. You could get taken advantage of. And if you're putting the wrong 3PLs into the mix, you're probably going to end up with not an ideal outcome in terms of cost and service. So I mentioned some of the characteristics that I would look for, and when I'm helping clients through this, we'll sit down together and say, well, look, here's your incumbent, what are the issues there, who have you used in the past, who have you used in previous roles. They'll always ask me, who else do you think is good, with your industry knowledge. And we'll come up with a sort of a long list initially, and then get that down to a short list. How many you should have on that list is a totally different topic, and maybe we'll talk about that next week. But the things I'm looking for are industry capability. So do they have the resources, the capability to look after this sort of business, whatever your business is. So a couple of recent ones we've done, for example, we needed 3PLs who had experience of delivering product to large retailers, to stores, to DCs and so on, and all of the promotional activity that goes along with that they're used to dealing with peaks and troughs and those sorts of things. You wouldn't want to go to a 3PL necessarily that didn't have that appropriate experience. So capability and experience is the second one. Do you want to be talking to a 3PL who is new to your sector? Sometimes it's worth including one as an outsider, but you really want the ones that not only have the capability, but the industry experience. If you're in retail, they've been looking after retailers, for decades, and they have lots of other retail customers. If you're in industrial products, they handle lots of other clients that have industrial products. So they understand the needs of your products, your market, your customers. I think that's really important. Number 3, and I mentioned I'd talk about 3, would be cultural fit. So you're going to have a very long, close relationship with this company. And I always insist that we get to meet not just the senior executive team of the company, that's fine, but you may not see them once the contract's been awarded. Who are you going to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis? Who's going to be managing this contract? Who are the operational people that you're going to be working with? I think that cultural fit is really important. And again, just reflecting on some recent projects where we've helped clients through this process, it's interesting, you go on site visits and you're walking around facilities and you just get this buzz, this vibe of, what the culture's like. And you can walk into one facility and it's kind of, and then you walk into another one and it's just totally different. Everybody's interested in who you are and what you're doing there, and they're happy to talk to you about how they're doing their jobs and looking after customers, and it's just a totally different vibe altogether. So I think cultural fit is really important. Things like service capability and cost will come out through your tendering, your RFT, RFP process, of course. But those are the 3 sort of characteristics that I tend to look for: the industry capability, the industry experience, and the cultural fit. Now we were going to talk about a code word, so you can get 20% off our online education program, Supply Chain Secrets. The code word will flash up on the screen is outsource. And outsource, code word, promotional code, will get you a 20% discount during the next 3 weeks only. And we'll put the link down below in the description of the video where you can go to have a look at that program. But thanks for watching. So there we go. On the topic of outsourcing, we'll talk about how many companies you should approach next week. Do feel free to share down below any tips that you've got on outsourcing, any sort of dramas that you've had, any questions that you've got. Be more than happy to answer those. So thanks for joining us. See you next week. And if you're not subscribed, do hit that subscribe button. Bye for now.